Hi folks, welcome to the BEA Industrial IS40P Introduction webinar. Hopefully at the top of the screen you see a red dot or spotlight. We'll use that to navigate through the webinar to help guide where we're speaking. Stand by, we'll get started shortly. Agenda and topics. BEA overview, IS40P, part of the IS40 family, presence detection only, BEA universal remote control, and questions. Global BEA, United States, Europe, China, Japan, Brazil. History of BEA, creation of the company, 1965. First microwave and IR sensors, 1972. Creation of BEA USA, 1987. Creation of BER, Design Office, 1988. Beginning of activities in China, 1994. Creation of BEA Brazil and Japan, 2001. Integration into the Halma Group, 2002. Expanded 4-segment focus for pedestrian, low energy, industrial, and security applications, 2006. Industry first dual technology activation and presence sensor, 2009. The laser scanner released largest technology development in BEA history, 2011. The IS40 family, IS40P, IS40, IS40XL. IS40P technology. Up here in the upper right, this indicator indicates IR or infrared presence detection. Picture of the sensor, the emitted infrared pattern in this area from the sensor. Focused active infrared. Focused active infrared uses emitter-receiver pairs to generate IR spots on a background or the floor. Each IR emitter emits infrared towards the background, and a portion of the IR is reflected back to the receiver. The sensor then determines a balance of reflectivity, or a threshold level. If there is a significant change in the reflectivity of the IR above or below the threshold, the sensor will trigger a detection and send a signal. Here, this image is showing the infrared emitted onto the floor, what the spots would look like. IS40P, the industry's first industrial presence technology sensor, focused active infrared presence detection, can detect both moving and motionless or static objects, adjustable IR pattern and target size, multiple learn time settings, 30 seconds to infinity. Presence detection. Focused active infrared. BEA's focused active infrared sensors send out a signal after the reflectivity of the emitted IR exceeds the upper threshold or falls below the lower threshold. With software immunity, the sensor's threshold limits will automatically adjust to subtle changes in the reflectivity. In this example here, we have an upper and a lower threshold of the infrared, a given digital value, and then anything within that threshold does not cause detection. Anything outside of the upper or lower detection or lower threshold will cause detection. Why presence detection? Presence detection will detect moving, static, or stationary objects or targets, thus increasing safety near the door. Presence detection will hold a door open with a slow-moving or stationary object. Presence detection can add increased functionality to your sensor. Detects objects at or near the floor. IS40P description. Here's kind of a close-up of the sensor on the side, showing the angle adjustments, physically tilting the angle, 15, 30, 45 degrees. Number 1, IR angle indicator, little triangle here. Number 2, 2 LEDs, a green and a red LED. Number 3, IR emitters are in this area. Number 4, the sensor angle adjustment here, physically tilting the sensor. Number 5 is a bracket for the angle adjustment, and 6, cable coming out of the sensor. IS40P specifications, the sensor tilt angle, 15 to 45 degrees. Out here, relay output, 2 relays with switchover contact, voltage free. Here's the rating, 60 volts DC or 125 VAC, 30 watts DC, 60 volts AC. Installation height, minimum 8 foot, maximum 16 feet. Temperature range, minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 30 Celsius to 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius. Important degree of protection, IP65 or NEMA 4, made to be used outdoors with splashed water. Detection mode, down here, presence, maximum detection field. This would be at the maximum mounting height of 16 feet. The maximum detection field would be 10 foot by 10 foot. IS40P wiring. Red and black wires are used for power. We have white, green, and yellow would be one relay output. And then we have white with a tracer, black tracer, green with the black tracer, yellow with the black tracer. That would be a second output. Based off of the red LED, the green LED will be this active output. We call the activation relay. We call the presence relay on the wires with the tracer or the black tracer. You can change the type of relay configuration here using the remote control. We'll get into the remote control function in a little while, but there are 4 output relay output options. If you want normally open or normally closed, active or passive relay, it's your choice. By default, relay 4 is a selection. So for example, with the default setting, the activation relay, common and normally open, would be used, as well as common and normally open will be used on the presence relay. IS40P output configuration, configured by the remote control F1 setting. You have functionality on the activation relay, that's the green LED, or the presence relay. In all modes, 6 of the modes that is, activates when an object is in the presence zone, displayed by the red LED. So for example, standard mode, the activation relay activates when the object is in the presence zone, or if you want a pulse on entry, activates when the object enters the presence zone, or pulse on exit activates when the object exits the presence zone. We can also pulse on entry first or last line, based here, last line or first line, activates when an object enters the presence zone, first or the last line. We'll continue on to the next slide. IS40P angle adjustment. 1, it's important to adjust sensor angle to position the IR field correctly. 2, to obtain an IR pattern that's straight down, closest to the door threshold, wall-mounted sensor needs to be set at approximately 20 degrees. Sensors mounted on an extension bracket or out from the wall should be set to approximately 15 degrees. The graphics above are not scale and for illustration purposes and represent an approximate IR detection field when at 16 foot. The point of emphasis is to show the IR detection area with respect to the sensor angles. So here we have 3 examples. If your door is this area here, here, and here, spaced at 15 degrees, it's going to have the presence zone indicated by the red dots closest to the door threshold. If you tilt the sensor out at 30 degrees, you're going to create an inactive area of no presence area farther from the door. Likewise here, we set the physical tilt angle of the sensor at 45 degrees. We've now moved the presence zone away from the door area here. We have a very large inactive area of no presence detection in this area. IS40P IR pattern and target size. Pattern size selected by the B button on your remote control on the upper right portion of your remote control. Here we have two pattern options. In this example, there's more, but we'll show just two here on this slide. Pattern 1 is the default pattern, the widest pattern that you can have. So if we were mounted the sensor at 16 foot, we would have about a 10-foot wide by 10-foot deep pattern. Another pattern option is pattern number 9. The target size is the size of the target within the pattern. So for pattern 1, any of these target sizes, an object or a person or perhaps a group of people would have to be as large as any of these targets for the sensor to detect and signal. If we choose pattern 9, the only possible target size could be one of these three. So for example, on pattern 9, if we choose target 2, that will mean every one of these infrared spots would have to be in detection for the sensor to detect. IS40P, IR pattern, and target size. Here's an example of all of the possible patterns for the IS40P. We showed that pattern 1 on the previous slide. We can choose pattern 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we showed 9 on the previous slide as well. Note the target size can vary location within the IR pattern size. So for example, on pattern 9, if we have target size 1, these two dots could be any of these two dots in that fashion within that area that would cause detection. Same thing here. Pattern 7, these two dots, these two could be in detection, would cause detection, these two, or these two, and so on. IS40P IR pattern size. In this example, here's our sensor mounted overhead here. Based on the mounting height, the different colored zones represent the pattern size of the presence field. So at 16 foot, the blue, 10 foot wide by 10 foot deep. Mounting at 13 foot height, we're going to have about an 8.5 foot pattern. 11.5 feet mounting height, we'll have about a 7.5 foot mounting height. 10 foot mounting, we'll have about a 6.5 foot pattern. And if we mount the sensor at 8 foot, we'll have about a 5 foot pattern. And you can, once you establish the pattern size based on the height, you can change it with the pattern size adjustment 1 through 9. BEA Universal Remote Control can be used to program most BEA sensors that are remote control capable. There are some sensors are not controlled with the remote control. A must for the IS40 family that eliminates the need for lift or ladder when making parameter adjustments. Can program sensors with an access code for security and prevents you from unintentionally programming another sensor in close proximity. Stated earlier, the B button here, which is used for the pattern size. So if you have an older remote control, you may not have the letters A, B, C, or D, but the symbols are still the same. Changing the parameters. All adjustments using the remote control start by pressing the unlock button. Select the parameter that you wish to change or query. To query a parameter or to query a parameter value, press the question mark. So for example, we want to question mark the pattern size. We press unlock the sensor, point the remote at the sensor, press unlock, the sensor will blink red, 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 and then let's press the B button at the sensor. We'll blink red, 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 rapidly fast, and then press the question mark and count the number of green flashes equals the parameter value. So in summary, so unlock, B, question mark, count the green blinks, and that'll display the parameter value. So if you did unlock, B, question mark, and counted 9 green blinks, that means that the pattern size for that sensor is set to value 9. To change the parameter value, press 0 through 9. So back to our pattern shape here, our pattern size, we press unlock, pattern, and then any number with 0 to 9, and that'll determine the pattern that you'll have for that sensor. And then when you're done changing that, finish all the adjustments by pressing the lock button twice. This will ensure to save your settings. So let's change the pattern from the default of 1 to 9. So unlock, pattern, 9, and now we have to save it, lock, lock, 2 times. Infrared or IR parameters. Automatic learn time, camera, determines how long a motionless object must remain in the presence field to be recognized as part of the background. Immunity filter filters out environmental disturbances and slight vibrations. Frequency changes the infrared pulse rate to eliminate crosstalk between 2 sensors in close proximity. Infrared or IR parameters continued. Pattern, the B button, changes the size of the presence field. Target size, F2, determines the size of an object needed for detection in the presence field. Setup stores a new background reference for the presence field. So unlock, magic wand, 0. It'll set up, take a new picture for that area. This is the magic wand we would have on, it would be on the bottom right of your remote control. General parameters. Relay configuration changes the relay state of the sensor. Output configuration provides options for virtual loop functions, pulse on entry, pulse on exit, etc. Default values restores the factory default settings to the sensor. If you want to restore the sensor to the default setting, press unlock, magic wand, 9. We'll reset it to the default settings. Access codes. To ensure to save any changes during the adjustment session via pressing lock, lock. I think we stated this earlier, so using the remote, press unlock, press your parameter button in a new value, and then save it by lock, lock. Always finish an adjustment session by launching a setup. Unlock, magic wand, 0. If you wish to reset to factory value, unlock, magic wand, 9. Setting an access code for your sensor. Press unlock, and then lock 1 time, and then any 4-digit number. That will be the access code the next time you want to program that sensor. If you want to delete an access code, press unlock, 0000 lock. This is provided you know the access code. If you do not know the access code, cycle the power supply, and within 1 minute, you can access the sensor without introducing any access code or delete the existing access code per the instructions above. So you could cycle the power within and when power is restored within 1 minute, you can press unlock and then lock it 1 time and then press 4 zeros. That would cancel that and delete that lock access code. Questions?
You can reach BEA Tech Service via email at tech_services@beainc.com. That's a general email box for all of BEA's technical service. You can also reach sales, service, and warranty. Reach us at 800-523-2462. Not shown on this screen is our website, beasensors.com. Thanks for attending. Please stand by.